Okay, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to talk a bit about the Career Management Skills Framework. I see lots of faces that I know, but for those that don't know me, I'm Liz Galashan. I'm currently Head of Career Management Skills for Skills Development Scotland, and in my spare time I chair the board of something called the International Centre for Career Development and Public Policy, which is currently hosted by the Career Service out in New Zealand. I started out as a trainee careers advisor in 1975. Can you believe that? 37 years ago, I've been through, 3 major reorganisations of career services, and I still think this is a fantastic sector to work in, but my goodness, how things have changed. We're in the middle of a major transformation in our concepts of work and career. The traditional concept of career has been concerned with progression up an ordered hierarchy, either within an organisation or a profession. For many people, they probably still hold this view, and it has been a neat and orderly but bureaucratic conception. Traditional methods of career guidance were designed to fit this concept, namely measuring individual attributes and matching them to opportunities. The process was based on a medical model, with an expert diagnosing the individual's characteristics and prescribing appropriate actions. This process was conventionally implemented at the point of transition from full-time education into the world of work, which probably explains why career guidance services have been concentrated predominantly around leaving secondary school. This traditional model is fragmenting, and there are 2 reasons in particular for that. The impact of new technology and the globalisation of markets. The result of that is that businesses now have to be prepared to change much more regularly and much more rapidly than ever before. To be agile and adaptive in the marketplace, businesses are now less prepared to make long-term commitments to individual employees. This requires individuals to take much more responsibility for their own career development on a lifelong basis, and to have an awareness of the need for skills in managing non-linear career pathways in knowledge-based economies such as ours, where relatively frequent job changes take place. So security now lies not in employment, but in employability. This requires a new model of career, redefined as the individual's lifelong progression in learning and in work. And so career guidance moves from being a single event focused on choosing a career to a continuous process enabling individuals to construct their career. This has greater emphasis on the individual as an active agent and not just a passive recipient within the guidance process. The OECD, European Commission and World Bank reviews of career guidance, which were published back in 2004, highlighted the need for 5 things: lifelong access to career guidance, flexible and innovation in service delivery, appropriately qualified practitioners, programmes for all young people to develop their career management skills, and fifthly, access to comprehensive and integrated educational, occupational and labour market information. These reports were pivotal in the establishment of the European Lifelong Guidance Policy Network, which was set up in 2007 to stimulate European cooperation on lifelong guidance. Since 2009, the European Union member states have been working on the theme of career management skills through the policy network. The network regards career management skills as competencies that help individuals to identify their existing skills and the necessary learning goals to improve their employability and their social inclusion. The European network is encouraging all member states to develop their own national frameworks. And one way of stimulating the development of CMS frameworks is by promoting the emulation of those that already exist. And so, for example, it was the American National Career Development Guidelines back in '89 that were the inspiration for the Canadian Blueprint for Life and Work Designs in '96, and then the Australian Blueprint for Career Development in 2005. The Learning and Skills Improvement Service has more recently supported the development of a blueprint for life and career management in England. In Scotland, we have indeed articulated our vision for career management skills in relation to that changing world of work. But I want to say right now, I want to make it quite clear that SDS has not just developed this framework because Scottish Government asked us to. I mean, we do what we're told, but that wasn't the only reason. We've done it because it is simply beneficial for individuals, for society, and for the economy. Through career management skills, we can all understand our place in society, we can build on our strengths, we can achieve our career goals and build networks of formal and informal relationships to support our own career journeys. Our work in this framework actually started 2 years ago. That involved engaging with some international experts and key staff across SDS. Then in November last year, we set up a strategic group with Scottish Government and Education Scotland to firmly set our framework in the context of skills and education strategy in Scotland. In January of this year, we were joined by the Scottish Qualifications Authority because there are issues of assessment which we will have to address. We will need to develop assessment tools. But this is formative assessment, it's not accreditation. We have no plans to set exams in CMS and give out certificates for passing. This is a set of personal development skills, and as such, we need to be able to assess them at any time. So what exactly is this framework? Well, first and foremost, it is a competency framework which offers a consistent definition and description of career management skills. There are 17 competencies grouped under 4 themes of self, strengths, horizons and networks. Self is about saying, who am I, what is my place in my society? Strengths is about what am I good at, and therefore what have I got the potential for in the future. Horizons is about visualising that future, what do I want it to look like, and what steps do I need to take to get there. And networks is about thinking about, well, who can help me? Whether that's formal organisations like SDS or informal friends and family. It is not expected, nor indeed is it necessary, that all of us should excel in all of these 17 competencies all of the time. Individuals are likely to exploit their strengths and to use those competencies which are most appropriate to their career stage and goals. There's nothing magic about the fact that there are 17 competencies. Other national frameworks have more or less. I don't think it's a good idea to have too many. I think it's really important that the competencies are readily understood and are manageable. So who's this framework aimed at? Well, we've aimed the actual framework quite specifically at those who design, develop, deliver and quality assure career services in Scotland. As the largest provider of career services, it's clearly very important for Skills Development Scotland staff and managers. But I do believe that these 17 competencies have the potential to be really useful for individuals, employers and learning providers, but more work needs to be done on that. So how will we all go about actually developing this skill set? Well, we'll develop these in different ways and at different rates, but it will be through a process of experience and then reflecting on that experience and ultimately taking that learning into our view of the world and ultimately then acting on that learning. These competencies can be developed at school, at college, at university, at work, at home. Quite honestly, you can develop these skills anywhere. So, what does this mean for practitioners? There is an annex in the framework that suggests the types of evidence that will demonstrate if an individual has or is developing these career competencies. And for you as practitioners, this helps you to formulate good questions to ask. For example, let's say you're maybe supporting someone who's been told recently that they're going to be made redundant. You've considered the 4 themes of the framework and you've decided that for today you're going to focus on strengths and networks. And of the 17 competencies, you've picked out 1 in strengths and 1 in networks. The competency you want to focus on in strengths is about being confident, resilient, and able to learn when things don't go well or don't go as expected. And from looking at the framework, it will tell you that an individual can demonstrate that capability through knowing and understanding their rights, being able to adapt to change when they encounter it, and being able to express their feelings and ask for help. The second competency you want to think about under networks is about using people and information to secure, create and maintain work. And the framework tells you that that can be demonstrated by understanding that skills and experiences are indeed transferable to various work settings. It's about knowing how to locate, interpret and use labour market information, and about developing relationships and networks to support. So through that information from the framework, you're now ready to sit down with your customer and have a conversation that might go like this. You might begin by saying, describe to me what you're entitled to from your employer. How will you ensure that you receive these entitlements? Tell me about how you're feeling at the moment. What skills and work experience can you offer another employer? How will you find out about potentially new employment opportunities? And who might help you? Depending on the responses that you get from your customer, you will either reinforce the benefits of existing skills that the person has, or reflect back to the individual the benefit of developing or strengthening particular competencies and ways of exploring how to achieve those skills. This would then be recorded in what we will call a career development plan, which will be owned by the individual and included in their My World of Work profile, which, as most of you know, is our web-based offer. This focus on the development and strengthening of skills requires the practitioner to take on that role of coach and facilitator. Now, this complements the existing skills and techniques of the professional guidance practitioner and endorses current theories of career guidance. This does not replace the 3-stage model of guidance. Practitioners will still set the foundations for guidance by establishing effective communications and agreeing the purpose of the interview. So you will still contract with your individual customers. You will still establish individual needs by exploring and agreeing what these are. And you will still address those needs and agree action to resolve these or to tackle significant issues. But you'll do this now in a way that clearly enables individuals to recognise and appreciate these career management competencies, which will support their life chances not just today, but into the future as well. So how does SDS plan to use this framework? Well, we're going to use it in lots of ways, but there are three things in particular that I want to mention to you today. The first thing we'll do is we'll use this framework to inform the design and development of new resources to support the delivery of services. And that's not just face-to-face services, but the work that we do through the telephone and through the web as well. We will use it to plan and implement staff learning and development, and indeed we've already begun this work. We are just almost finished putting through all our careers advisors a 3-day programme of coaching and facilitation skills, and we're working up a programme for all our other frontline staff as well. And this will be part of an academy programme that will run into the future for all SDS staff, not just frontline staff. But wherever possible, we will look for opportunities too to have joint staff development with our key partners. And indeed, we will want to articulate how existing work with partners already contributes to the development of people's career management skills. But we will want to continue to work in partnership to see how much more we can do to support the communities that we all serve. Today, we are launching the consultation phase of this framework. And today, a number of key national and local partners will receive a personal email from SDS inviting feedback on the draft. There will be a direct link to the document and a survey questionnaire. So for the next 6 weeks, partners will be able to go online and answer a few questions to help us get to that final stage where we have a document to publish and then to fully implement. This framework, of course, is important to SDS, but the truth is we cannot achieve our objectives alone. We need to work with and through the staff of our partner organisations. And so through this consultation exercise, we want to find out if our document is easy to read and to understand, and we want to find out how partners will use it to develop their staff and to develop their services to support individuals out in the communities. Internally as well, we've been engaging with staff to ensure that everyone in SDS is aware of the framework and understands its purpose. So that's not just staff out in the front line, it's everyone who works in SDS, because we do intend to incorporate this into our personal development planning for all our staff. So career management skills are not something just for our customers, they're for us as well. So from today, staff will also participate in the consultation. We've simply reframed some of the questions to make them appropriate for our staff. The consultation period will end at 12 noon on Friday the 11th of May, and then we'll analyse the results and prepare a final draft which will be presented then to our SDS strategic management team and to Scottish Government for final approval. Then I hope we will have a document to publish by the end of June. Our long-term aim for this set of soft skills is for them to become fully embedded in lifelong learning in Scotland and to support career development across all parts of Scottish society. That's the plan. Hopefully that's how it will work out. You and others will be able to tell us somewhere further down the line. We've got about 8 minutes left. I'm quite happy to take questions just now if anyone has any. And equally, as others have done, I'll be available at the speaker's corner at the end of the room if you want to have more detailed discussions. But in the meantime, thanks very much.
You mentioned that that they can achieve this whilst they're at university? Have any discussions taken place with University Careers Guidance Services and how we could carry on the good work?
Right, good question. Not directly in terms of the development of the draft framework, but the university sector is part of that direct consultation that will be taking place from today. In parallel to this framework, it's maybe worth mentioning that we're also developing a qualifications and CPD framework. Some of you might have attended the workshop session that Marion Healy has read. Marion's chairing that group. That work will be completed through Skills Development Scotland, and the university sector is part of that. And I've been keeping that group up to date with career management skills as well. Anyone else? You're all happy? That was clear. Great. Okay, thanks very much for your attention. Hope you get a chance.